Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Fresh Out the Podcast, the greatest thing ever created by friendship? I don't know. I'm Jahanan, the board game guru, game master extraordinaire, etc., etc.
It's me, Captain Planet. You can find me at Casualty CDG.
And it's me, the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen, and this is episode 105 of Fresh Out the Podcast. I'm sorry for all those who were waiting for a hot, fresh new episode to appear in feeds last week, but we did warn you at the end of the episode the week before that we didn't know what the plan was, and I was gone at a film festival, and everybody had life and things going on, so we decided to take a nice week off from the pod, but we're here to continue with hot, fresh updates. And Gary,
you want to know what I did with my sweet time?
Yes, I do.
We bought a grill, like an above ground grill. We haven't had one. We've been, we moved and we went from rental to rental. So we got like a Weber, like one of the $40 stand up Webers. And Annie made beef and chicken fajitas, and we had fresh grilled homemade beef and chicken fajita nachos. That's what we did instead of podcast. And let me tell you, they were delicious. And it
Sounds
was
amazing.
Great. It was a great evening.
That is legitimately mouthwatering to hear over the airwaves here. Yeah, I was at a film festival watching lots of movies. Jahan, what did you do with your Tuesday evening?
It was a pretty stressful week at work, so I played Baldur's Gate.
Nice. I won't dive too much into video games right here off the bat because I've mostly just gone back into Starfield. But I will say this. For me, I know Gary's put in a lot of hours into it. I'm probably at around 60. But I've done all of the faction quests and all of the main quests except the final one. And I've done a lot of side content. So I've kind of gotten to the point where I feel like I'm good to take a break from it here soon and move on to some other games. But the completionist in me is wanting to mop up achievements and do some things. So I've actually been playing a lot with like the outpost building and resource gathering for some achievements. And then I was messaging Gary and you in real time just about my trying to venture to all of the different systems and try to land on as many planets as I could to get the achievements. And shockingly, there's 120 different star systems in Starfield, which is a lot. And like, it's not like you instantly go between them. Like, there are usually animations and things to do it. So it's a lot to go between. And some of them are like layered and doubled up and hard to see on the map. So it took a lot of trial and error to find all of them, but I did do it. So I accomplished it.
I didn't realize that I was chasing an achievement. I looked at my map and I was like, man, I hate how some of them are still like small dots, like I haven't been there. So
Right.
I just had to clear it just for my own sanity. It was like, let's make the map look uniform. So yeah, I got that one too, and yeah, that was a cool one to get, especially because I didn't, like I said, I didn't know I was chasing it, so it just popped up. It was like, you've been to every star system, or you've been to 100 planets. It's like, oh, sick, hell yeah, go me.
Yeah. So hopefully by this time next week when we're recording, I will have beat the game and hopefully have 1,000 out of 1,000 achievements, and I can retire from it for a while until there's some cool side content or DLC or something, because I'll probably jump back into it if they have a cool new faction.
After you beat it, you can get to the ending of the game again after about 2 or 3 hours of gameplay.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The game is certainly meant to be beaten, and then you just immediately get back to basically the end. Once you can rush it if you want to, real easy by design, which is fun. I like that.
My main thing is I wanted to do everything that involved resources before finishing the game, because I think you lose a lot of those when you do finish it. So I just did. That's why I was making sure to do it all now while my inventory is super stuffed.
Yeah, you keep only your name and appearance and skills. You get all your guns are gone, your ship is gone, all your storage is gone, your outpost, you lose it all.
Yeah,
but that's a new game plus. I'm okay.
That's
with that.
a new game plus. Yeah. Now I look forward to when I get to go back, but I've been just busy with other stuff, other games.
Baldur's Gate, namely.
Baldur's Gate, namely. Yeah.
I'm
about
just trying to
be-
get my gaming plate cleared because we're a little over 2 weeks away from Spider-Man 2 coming out, and that's the next game that I'm really planning to hardcore dive into on PS5 when that comes out. But Super Mario Wonder comes out that same day, and I kind of want to play that too because I thought it looked really fun.
Is your kid old enough yet for that game?
Mm-mm.
So close.
No, I've tried. I've tried to do even just some old school like Super Mario Brothers, the original, and she's just not quite like her hands are still too small. Like they're just not quite there to be able to like really use the remote. But it's coming soon. Like we're really
Almost,
close.
man. Almost. That's the most exciting thing ever to
Yeah.
me.
When she's
You know,
4 is when it'll probably really start working out.
games coming soon. I've been having my eye on City Skylines for a while. That's the kind of the thing I was waiting to play next. But to me, that City Builder doesn't really fill the niche of a full-time game necessarily. It's just like
Right.
it's a secondary game for me. But today, just today, I discovered that Dark Tide is coming to Xbox Game Pass on the 3rd or 4th of October. Like now, like this week, right now, turn around, here it is, it's here for free on Game Pass. And this was a game I was excited for last year, and it ended up getting just totally scrapped and canned for Xbox. They put it on the shelf and said, see you never. And they've been working on the PC version pretty adamantly every month since then. So now it's coming to Xbox, and I think it has a few more bells and whistles. So I'm excited to get into Dark Tide. That'll probably be my more full-time game, I think.
You know, speaking of Xbox and Game Pass and subscription services, so I just was reading some headlines that, so you know, Ubisoft has their own plan now called Ubisoft Plus that you can subscribe to, and you get access to like all the backlog of Ubisoft games, like the Far Cry games, the Assassin's Creed games, and all their stuff. But they just announced the Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is the newest Assassin's Creed game that comes out this week, will be on like the deluxe edition will be on Ubisoft Plus. And they've also announced that the Avatar, you know, whatever the like Avatar Far Cry-esque game is called, something Pandora, that will apparently be on there, and even the new Star Wars game, what's it called, Outlaws or something like that.
No way.
That'll be on there when it launches, and I'm kind of like, man, that subscription service is $15 a month. I think if my research was correct, which is kind of more than I want to pay for that service. However, if buying Assassin's Creed Mirage for Xbox Series X is $70, I'm kind of like, well, maybe I will subscribe for 3 months or so to play Assassin's Creed and Avatar, and then if it's easy to unsubscribe and then resubscribe when the Star Wars game comes out, maybe do that, because that kind of seems like it's worthwhile if you, as long as they don't have like a, you know, a 12-month commitment when you sign up for it, or
So
you know,
I've
whatever it
got
may
that
be.
Avatar game on my wish list already. I plan on sinking my teeth into that at some point. And yeah, I'm not a big fan of more and more subscription services, right? This is late game capitalism stuff. This is you buy as many subscription services as drive you broke, or as many as you know can stomach or whatnot. I'm definitely interested in this, and I definitely want to play Star Wars Outlaws too. But that's probably what I'll do. I'll probably wait until Outlaws comes out and then go back and play the Avatar game and play
That's
Outlaws.
a good idea.
Ooh.
I'll
So
probably
it's
just wait
looking
till it build
like
up there.
$15 a month gets you PC access, $18 a month for multi access, which gets
Okay.
you consoles.
Which still, 3 months of the subscription is essentially the same price as a full price
mean,
game.
So, like, I know that there are some people that this is a really good deal for because these are the games they play. It's just not me.
My brother loves the Assassin's Creed games, and I think for him this would be great. You know, versus Game Pass, where I think we play Exo Primal on Game Pass, but that's about it. We don't play a lot on Game Pass together, but there's probably more titles here for him for sure. And like I said, there's titles I've played a lot of these titles already, so give me a year, wait until they build up a backlog, and I think this will be great for me.
Well, it's the first time in a while that I feel like Ubisoft has a bunch of games coming out that I'm actively looking forward to, like that I would play. Like I probably wasn't going to buy the new Assassin's Creed outright right now. Like the past few of them have been so big that I play them for a few weeks and then I just kind of grow bored of them and I stop. But for the subscription price, I'm like, okay, and maybe with the other games, because it's the first time in a while that Ubisoft has a few games that I'm looking forward to, like Assassin's Creed, Avatar, um, uh, uh, Star Wars, and then if like they have a new Prince of Persia game, like side-scrolling Prince of Persia game that's coming out soon, like I would play that. And there's actually some things on the horizon because before these, I think the last Ubisoft game I played was Far Cry 6, and I haven't played anything from them since. So, but they actually have a steady flow of releases that seem to be coming out soon, so it might be worthwhile. I don't know. I'm sure that's how they get you, is they get you on the service to get those new games, and then they hope you get hooked on some old game that you haven't played and then continue subscribing to it. But
It does say...
yeah, I don't know.
It says cancel anytime. Yeah, it says cancel anytime. So there's no commitment, apparently. So you could just do it for a few months. That could be a good deal. Yeah, I'm not an Assassin's Creed guy. The Avatar game looks cool, but I'm not a fan of Avatar. And then the Star Wars game looks really dope. So that's really the only one on there that really piques my interest.
But I think
do
Gary
think the
summed it up
coolest
well.
part-
If you wait till Star Wars comes out, subscribe for that month, then you have all three of those games at your disposal,
Not
and then
wrong.
maybe you only subscribe for 1 or 2 months till you mop through those games, and then cancel. You know, instead of subscribing over the course of
You're
6
not
months to play
wrong.
those games.
It could be a good deal. I've done the
I know it's a
subscribe
lot
and
of-
cancel thing, and
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. I know it's a lot of bells and whistles and cards to move around and trade, but really that is the best value, right?
Yeah.
We could all cancel all of our streaming services and then just watch Netflix for a month, get caught up, switch, just watch Hulu for a month, watch the same stuff, get caught up. That really would be the best bang for your buck, but that's a lot of bells and whistles and a lot of moving pieces.
if everyone started doing that shit, they'd be mad.
If it's over, like I'd be interested. And Jahan, I know you've been kind of researching this as we've talked about it, which I appreciate because I did not do my due diligence and research it fully before bringing it up here on the show. But if it's a multi-console, like if you said the $18 is like a multi-console plan, like does that mean I can use it on my Xbox and my Switch? Because like I would play the newest Mario Rabbids game because I didn't play that when it came out. The sequel to Mario Rabbids, which is a strategy game that's pretty fun on Switch. But like if I could play that, it's kind of worth it.
The one I'm reading says Xbox Cloud with Luna PC. It doesn't say anything about Switch or PlayStation.
Okay, so it's just an Xbox thing. It's not even on PlayStation?
I don't see it mentioned PlayStation.
Interesting. Okay.
Which, yeah, that
Oh,
is
cool.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, Mario Rabbids, though, those come to Xbox.
No, they don't.
Yeah, you can get Mario Rabbids on Xbox.
How?
It's like one of the only Mario titles to ever like do that, I think.
I don't think you're
Am I
right.
wrong? Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm pretty sure you're wrong. I'm pretty positive. It'd be really neat if they did. But I think I would own it if that was the case. Also, as far as deals go, I don't know why the show became the video game deals corner, but Jahan, you recommended back when Tears of the Kingdom came out that $100 for 2 Nintendo Switch game tickets deal that they have for Nintendo Switch Online, and I ended up getting Tears of the Kingdom and Metroid Dread. I believe Super Mario Wonder applies to that deal, so I'll probably end up getting that ticket again and getting Super Mario and maybe the Mario RPG remake or something of the sort. So that'll be another good deal for some upcoming cool Switch games.
I could have sworn it did, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense that I would be wrong about that because they're pretty touchy about their, stuff. But
I think just it seemed like Nintendo and Microsoft had a good relationship there for a while and were kind of working together towards things. So maybe it was something that could have happened, but alas, it didn't. Or like if Game Pass had been on Switch, would it have been something that's what they gave in return? Who knows?
confirmed,
Who knows?
I am wrong. I've looked into it and it is not there. But that'd be cool.
But at least you admitted you were wrong with grace.
Hey,
you weren't stubborn about it. It's appreciated. Well, we'll move on to some things. Of course, last week, the week that we didn't record was the week that the WGA strike officially came came to an end, or those negotiations came to an end, and the writers have been successful in getting having a lot of their needs met, which is really great. And I don't think, I'm not going to sit here and go through the bullets of what all they got, but I think at the end of the day, this is good progress. I believe SAG-AFTRA leaders are in negotiations now with the big studios, so hopefully that will come to an end soon, and everybody gets back to work. It'll take a bit to schedule things, but like we're already seeing some immediate response from the Writers Guild strike ending, because like I know today, actually, we're recording on Monday, the late night shows return tonight. Like all the late night hosts are returning to their broadcasts tonight.
Ooh, good for them.
Yeah, so like, people are getting back to work, and it seems like the writers are all happy with what they got and probably excited to get back to work. I'm sure they're, excited to be able to pay their rent and things like that soon. And hopefully SAG-AFTRA gets as good of a deal here soon. But yeah, so that's just exciting. I just wanted to make sure we addressed that, even though we were off last week, because that is something that we've talked about in the weeks to come, or, in the weeks that passed, I guess I should say. We had a friend that actually reached out, because I think the episode before we were off, I made a comment of like, what I'm hearing, the Writers Guild strike could end up going into next year. And then alas, a week later it ends. So that's great news. We obviously have a lot of pull over the WGA in Hollywood here on Fresh Out the Podcast. So I'm glad to see that we have influenced it properly.
Again. That we continue to influence it properly.
Right, exactly. So there's that. And then, yeah, I just wanted to mention I was at Fantastic Fest last week in Austin. It's a 8-day festival full of genre movies. I was only there for about 6.5 days, almost 7 days. By the end, I'm just like, I bow out. Like, I can't do that one more day for some reason. I can't power through. But I ended up seeing 24 movies in a little over 6 days, which is a lot.
Get some, Drew.
Yeah, that's a lot. And, some of those were not so good, and some of those were great. And some range from like super small independent films from first-time directors, and then there were some bigger movies there. We saw the Toxic Avenger premiere that they remade with Peter Dinklage, and it's pretty dumb silly, in the vein of Toxic Avenger. Got to see The Creator. I got to see Saw X. I got to see Luc Besson's new movie called Dogman. I saw some other movies that will be coming out later in the fall, like Eileen, and so on and so forth. So overall, it was a really good time, and I got to see some nifty stuff. So thank you guys for bearing with me while I was gone for a week and allowing us to take a week off, because it was provided for some good content and movies that we'll be able to talk about here on the show. So
hell yeah, man.
pretty cool. Which
the
as
one
far
with the
as
Dinkles, I was excited for Peter Dinklage Toxic Avenger. Is it? I mean, stupid dumb, right? We expected it to be stupid dumb, or else it wouldn't be right. But is it worth your money? Is it worth going to see if you know it's stupid dumb and you want it to be stupid dumb, or should you just wait for streaming service on this guy?
I feel like for whatever reason, I don't know why I'm so torn with this movie in particular, because it is, it's a Troma release, so it's the same, group that did the original, and the original is super low budget and cheesy, but like it's still, even though parts of it haven't aged well, like it still has a lot of heart behind it in a weird way, despite being gross and silly. And the new one tries to pay homage to that, but also like something about it just felt kind of messy or off to me in a way that was less sincere, I guess. Like, don't get me wrong, like there's a lot of practical effects, like the Toxic Avenger costume or it's all practical and looks silly. I have the design overall is okay. I had some issues with it, but I mean, like, it's the Toxic Avenger. I don't know what. It's not like I really wanted anything more. When there's gore, it's really good and silly and gross. And that's when the movie's at its best, and it kind of takes a while to get there, so the pacing's just off. But I mean, like, the Toxic Avenger does pull a guy's organs out through his butt. So, like, there's stuff like that in it that, is...
At least there's that.
Yeah. And, like, Peter Dinklage is pretty good, and Kevin Bacon's, just playing up as the hamminess as the main villain, and so like there's some decent things. There's just something about it that it's just hard to match the same heart and vibe of the original, even though they were really trying to go for that tone, if that makes sense. So yeah, I was pretty mixed on it.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm gonna rush out to the theater to see that.
And it doesn't even have a release date yet. Like, it's strange. They premiered it at the festival. The trailer for the movie has now come out after the fact, but it's just kind of like a series of newsreels from the movie. And you don't even like really see Toxie in the trailer. It kind of helps establish what the tone of the movie is, though, if you watch the teaser. But yeah, it just I'm interested to see what happens with it. Like, I think it's Lionsgate and Trauma, and I don't know when it's supposed to come out, if it'll even come out in theaters, if it'll go straight to streaming. Like, it's unclear what's even going to happen with it, or when it'll end up being available for other people to see. So it's kind of interesting case study as far as that goes. The festival this year was interesting because the Alamo Drafthouse on South Lamar in Austin, where the entire festival is held there, they have done some renovations since last year. So they've added a 10th screen to the theater, which is nice. And they changed out all the seating because they still had kind of old school theater seating. It was still stadium seating, but it was just standalone seats. Now they've upgraded to recliners with individual trays, and the seats are really nice. But because of the theater that they added, they essentially removed their entire lobby area. They used to have a big indoor lobby where you could wait for your next movie, and you could wait outside too, but now essentially that lobby's gone. So you either have to wait outside or you wait in the bar. Like, there's nowhere really to hang out, which is an interesting choice. And then also, while it's nice that they changed out the seating, the new seating means that there's less seating in every theater because the recliners take up a little bit more space. And with that, on top of the fact that it seems like they sold more badges this year for the festival, it was a lot harder to get into first pick of movies if you had the basic fan badge, which is what I had at the festival. So like the first half of the festival is typically busier because it's over the weekend, but they had a couple of secret screenings that I was not able to secure tickets to. So I didn't get to go to two of the secret screenings. I missed the first secret screening ended up being a movie called Saltburn, which is Emerald Fennell's new movie. She's the one that did Promising Young Woman, I think just a couple years ago. And then the second secret screening was Dream Scenario, which is the new Nick Cage movie, where I believe he's like the man you see in your dreams. Yeah, that one they showed. That. Yeah, but I couldn't get into it. I wasn't able to get a ticket, which was fine. Like, it stinks not to see those, but like I saw 3 other movies that day, so I was happy to just be able to go back to where I was staying and rest. And then the third secret screening I was able to get into, which was Dogman, the new film from Luc Besson. He's like a controversial filmmaker in his own right, but he's done a lot of things
is that the one with the bounty hunter who has the feather in his hair?
That is, I believe you're referring to Dog the Bounty Hunter, and no, it was not that.
Okay.
Dogman is, again, there's a trailer for this one. I don't know when it's getting released in the U.S.
Is it like a werewolf guy? Is he like half dog, half man? He's like a canine sort of thing?
Hilarious that you're bringing this up because I had no idea what the movie was about when I sat down for it. They announced that's what we were watching. I just knew the title, so I was like, it could have been anything. Mm-hmm. The plot of it is, so it stars Caleb Landry Jones, who is like a pretty offbeat actor. Like he's known for being pretty unhinged and playing kind of kooky characters, and he's the lead in this. And the movie essentially starts off where he's driving like a semi and gets pulled over and arrested and when he gets pulled over, he's in complete drag and has his semi, the trailer on it is just full of like dozens of dogs. And that's how the movie starts. And then it's like the classic, how did we get to this point? And essentially he was like abused as a child by his father, and he was kind of thrown into the father raised dogs for dog fighting. So, obviously a really decent human being his father is. And when Caleb Landry Jones' character, I believe his name is Douglas.
Everybody knows that whenever your dad has fighting dogs, that makes you a dog man.
So when he, pushes back against his father essentially abuses him and throws him into the cage where all the dogs are held, and
he gets bit by a radioactive dog. He becomes Dog Man, and he defends New York City.
Close enough. He finds solace in the dogs. He bonds with the dogs. He trains the dogs, and as he grows up, he, has, continues to find essentially salvation through these dogs. And it's like watching one of these DC or even better, the Marvel Sony verse, like anti-hero origin stories. It's like watching one of those, but like way better. This is way better than something like Morbius or Venom, but almost in the same vein as like this guy who's raised with all these dogs. So he uses dogs to like steal things, like steal from the rich to give to the poor, or to stop crime from happening, and all kinds of things. But then he also is a performer, and so he like finds artistic value in the dogs and in his job. I don't know. It's a very strange movie. It was very divisive at the fest. I overheard people, or even talked directly to people that were like absolutely hated it, wanted to walk out, did not like it. I'm sitting here like kind of thought it was a 4 out of 5. Like I was really vibing with it and really liked it. So just super divisive. Definitely a fun pick for a secret screening that was not like a big mainstream choice. The last night that I was there was the 4th and last secret screening, which was Saw X, which, I watched. And I don't know where you guys are on the Saw movies, but I hadn't seen all of them. Like, I think I watched the first 3 around the time when they came out. And after 3, I was like, I'm out on this franchise. I'm good. I didn't see Saws 4, 5, 6, or Saw 3D, which came out, I think, in 2010. I did see Jigsaw.
I might have seen all of those. I'm looking at this list and I'm like, really? I would need, like, I don't even think a plot synopsis would help, because at some point, like, the killer switches, and instead of it being the old man, it's the girl, and then it's like one of the old cops. Yeah, then one of the old cops shows back up, and it's just like it becomes so convoluted. It's almost hard to keep my finger on it. But I want to say I at least saw 3D, like through Saw 3D. I think that was where I was like, okay, they're jumping the shark, but I'll go.
Well, I saw Jigsaw, which was the one that came out in 2017, which was technically the 8th entry. And I saw Spiral from the Book of Saw, which is the one with Chris Rock and Samuel Jackson.
I saw
that came out in 2021.
I saw Spiral.
And then Saw 10, or Saw X, is... So the producers of the movie were at Fantastic Fest, and they kind of introed it, and they did a Q&A after, and they kind of joked, because spoilers for Saw 3, which came out in like 2006, Tobin Bell, who plays Jigsaw, it's early on, he has this like terminal brain cancer, and I think Jigsaw, or John Kramer is the character's name, I think he dies in the 3rd movie, and the producers that were there were like, probably not the best idea to kill off your horror villain or main character in the 3rd entry of the franchise that's like ongoing. So the storytelling in the entries after that are very convoluted and strange, because it's either like people picking up the Jigsaw mantle and like kind of continuing his legacy, or like flashbacks that still feature Jigsaw. Like they've had to get creative with it, which kind of makes sense why with Spiral they were like, let's just do like a whole different story that doesn't have Jigsaw. But Saw X it takes place between Saw 1 and Saw 2. So Jigsaw is still, John Kramer's alive in it. And the whole storyline is he travels to Mexico trying to find like
No,
this
no,
new experimental
no,
treatment for his cancer.
no, no, no,
Hmm.
no, no. Saw X doesn't get to be Saw 1.5. No, 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 no. I'm so out on this already. If you have a convoluted series, making it more convoluted, that's not how you get out of it. Just read a Marvel comic. People come back to life. It's easy.
Right, and it's not like there's a
He could
message
have a
that pops up
twin
on
brother.
screen that says, it's not like it tells you at the beginning, the following story takes place between Saw 1 and Saw 2. Like, no, like if you don't know, but you've maybe seen the past movies and like you know that Jigsaw died, you're like, why is he alive? When does this take place? Like it kind of would have you questioning it. I knew that when it took place, so I was able to stick with it, but yeah, he travels to Mexico seeking out this like experimental treatment for his cancer, and of course it turns out to be a scam. So he puts all the people who scammed him through the jigsaw ringer, which works from a story perspective. The first half of it is really interesting because like this is a true John Kramer story more so than a jigsaw story. Like it's about John Kramer the man, and so Tobin Bell gets like the biggest spotlight that he's really been able to have during this franchise because it's like a really personal story. And the first half of the movie, there's like one quick kind of Saw trap that's not, it doesn't even actually happen. Like it's in his brain, it's in his mind, like he's imagining it happening and you as the audience see it. And then like a good portion of the movie is him going through this treatment, and it's like very intimate and personal with him, like dwelling on his sickness. And then the latter half of it finally turns into a Saw movie. Now, that being said, the Saw movie part of it is like probably some of the best that Saw has ever been. Like, there's some really good traps, and it's super gory. Like, the gorehounds that are into the Saw franchise that love that gritty, dirty aesthetic and love these traps are gonna find things to like here. Like, it's good in that half. It just, the pacing's kind of off, and it's kind of strange how it gets there, because typically Saw movies are like Saw movies from the get-go, and dark and gritty, and this one is like kind of light in the first half until it goes full Saw in the second half. I don't know how better to describe it. That being said, like my expectations were super low, and like I thought it was actually kind of decent. But like you said, Gary, it's like it's weird though where it falls in the timeline. And like you have to kind of know beforehand where it is, or else you might be confused. And maybe general audiences that go to the Saw movies like Clockwork at Halloween time know this stuff already. But I haven't seen
They
Saws
coulda-
4, 5, 6 in 3D.
They could have done so many better things. They didn't quite do it as bad as Resident Evil, it sounds, because Resident Evil doesn't stay true to its own canon in the movies. Like the movie
Right.
canon, it doesn't stay true to. But in this, at least they kind of were like, we'll go back in time instead of mess. They could have. He could have become like a Frankenstein person. That would have been way cooler. He could have possessed that doll. He could.
All right, hold on.
You know?
He's literally Tobin Bell has been in every single Saw movie
Yeah.
except for Spiral, where he was just shown in a photograph. But like, come on, guys! Like, you obviously want to use him as your main guy. Stop the silliness and use him as your main guy. You put him in every single movie. Make him the killer.
I don't know if people will go for it. Yeah, I know it's bullshit. Yeah,
You're,
just fucking
you're doing it anyways. You're just doing it the hardest way possible. It's like
Put
Saul's
his-
always trying to make an excuse.
put his ghost in that pig mask. Whoever puts it on becomes John Kramer. I mean, horror movies. No one cares. Just do it.
Freddy Krueger is like a memory. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, he doesn't have to be a guy that did or didn't have cancer. Freddy Krueger's a freaking nightmare, man. This is okay to be a nightmare.
I think he should have started taking body parts from the losers and replacing them to beat his cancer. I think that's what he should have done. That would have been way cooler.
Sewn. Yeah, man. Himself together wrong. All right.
Like-
Enough dumping on Saw. What else did you see, Drew?
So I brought up my list of things, and I'll just go through a couple of quick highlights. Gary, I saw a Japanese film that made me think of you because it just seemed like the type of thing that you and Thomas would like because y'all like kung fu movies and different things like that. I saw a movie called One Percenter. I imagine this is going to be on streaming somewhere soon and will do well on streaming. Like it's just one of those that I could see popping into the top 10 on Netflix or something. But One Percenter is about he's like an action star in Japan. So like this guy who like was the box office draw of action movies in Japan, and now he's like older, but he still makes films. And essentially though finds himself in like a real life situation that could use, you know, the skills that he has. And even though he's like a movie action star, he ends up like actually taking out like big wig gang members effectively. And it makes it even better because the form of combat that he has essentially mastered is, I can't remember the proper name of the combat, but it's essentially like this close combat technique where like it doesn't even require a wind up of a punch. It's like all energy and the wave of your arm, and like you can punch somebody and they'll fly back 10 feet, but he barely has to move. And like also the way that he watches other people's body movements, like he can dodge bullets and all this stuff, but he's just like a movie action star. The action in it is really fun, and it was a good time, and it was like an 11 a.m. movie for me at the festival, and it started off my day on a high note. So that's One Percenter.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a great way to start the day. It sounds like.
Yeah, I'm looking at Letterboxd, and the description that they have on here is actually pretty long. But big action star Takuma Toshiro has succeeded in riling up the whole profession against him by declaring that cinematographic fights should be closer to reality than these choreographed ballets where shrimps without talent tickle each other with foam swords. After a 10-year hiatus, he's attempting a comeback with a very personal project. Kind of goes on to say the stuff that I did. This description is written really hilariously, though.
Yeah, I'm about that. I gotta keep my eyes out for that one.
Yeah, I really liked that. I saw a movie called Strange Darling that I really enjoyed. It's by a director named J.T. Molnar. This is one where I don't know where it's going to be released or where it'll get distribution. It starred Kyle Gallner, who I don't know if y'all saw the horror movie Smile, but he's the male lead in that. And then this young actress named Willa Fitzgerald, who it was the first time I'd seen her in anything. She's been in like the Scream TV series that they did and some other things. He's like absolutely amazing in this. Essentially, the movie starts off and it's called Strange Darling, and it's a story told in 6 parts. And it starts with chapter 4. And all you know is this girl is running away from this guy and he's trying to murder her. And the premise you're basically told is like, he's a serial killer. He's trying to murder this girl. And then the story jumps around from like chapter 4 to chapter 1 to chapter 5 to chapter 2, and like kind of jumps around in the story to kind of like bring it all together. And it's a really interesting narrative choice, and it worked really well, and I really liked it. It got a really positive buzz at the festival, so I'll be interested to see where that one ends up. I saw a movie called Strange Darling.
Strange Darling.
I also saw a movie called Eileen. This will be in theaters closer to Christmas in December, I believe, is when it gets released wide. It stars Thomasin McKenzie, who was in Last Night in Soho and Jojo Rabbit and a few other things. Oh. And it also stars Anne Hathaway. And I'm not like the biggest Anne Hathaway fan necessarily. I thought she was amazing in this. So like I'm back on board. I'm like, yeah, okay. After this, I'll watch whatever you're doing, Anne Hathaway.
I like Anne Hathaway. I always have.
Yeah, it's essentially about Thomasin McKenzie's character. She works in like a boys' prison, like a juvenile detention facility, and Anne Hathaway comes in as the new psychiatrist at the facility. And so Thomasin McKenzie's like very taken with her and like just kind of fascinated by Anne Hathaway's character. And they develop a friendship, and it's kind of a slow burn. And then the third act of the movie kind of takes a big twist that I didn't see coming. So I had a really good time with it, and I wasn't expecting it. And that will get wide released. And yeah, I really liked that one. Oh gosh, I saw so many things. I'm only going to go through a few more things just for the sake of time. I saw Pet Sematary Bloodlines, which is a Pet Sematary prequel movie that's going to be on Paramount Plus, I think, at the end of this week.
Did it need to happen?
No, absolutely not. I love Pet Cemetery. Like, it's one of my favorite King books, and I really like the original movie. And I even liked the remake that they did in 2019. And this is like a prequel to the 2019 movie. It's not based on a book or anything, maybe like brief passages from the book. I don't even know. Like, it just kind of seemed like the Pet Cemetery idea of like, you go to this Indian burial ground and you bury the dead and then they come back to life. Like, that's the general Pet Cemetery premise. They take that and boil it down to like the most basic horror movie possible, where, you don't really get to know any of the characters. None of them are likable. And it's just people coming back from the dead and them having to like fight off these people,
That
relying
is
on.
such a accurate description of Blood and Honey. Also, like when you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, there it is. Those are the words I needed. There's just the characters. They don't ever make you care about the people.
Yeah, and like the only tie to the original Pet Cemetery in this is like the main character of this prequel is Judd Crandall, who's like the neighbor in Pet Cemetery. And in the Pet Cemetery book and movie, Judd like helps the dad of the main story, like helps him bury their cat or whatever, and it come back to life, and like, it like participates in it. And Judd's the main character in this prequel and has to fight all these undead, and like there's no way that in the future Judd would ever help anybody bury something in that grounds based on what happened in this movie. So like, it just barely even makes sense. Also, the other thing that works about Pet Cemetery, the original, is like, you are with this family from the beginning and you get to know them as characters. So when a child of the family, tragically dies, you understand the dad's, need to bring this child back, or to have his child back, and why he would bury it. And then, the child comes back and it's not his child anymore because it's this like undead shell of a child. And, that premise is so harrowing, it really works. And this, it's just a horror convention. Like, you don't even get to know any of the people. They just are kind of undead, and are almost seem like they have superpowers, like they're super strong and stuff. I don't know. It just did not work for me. I didn't think it was very good. That's Pet Cemetery Bloodlines. I'll say this. If you're looking for something that you can just have on during spooky season that has like some jump scares and some scary vibes, I guess, or if you want to get use out of your Paramount Plus subscription that's sitting there idle, like maybe that's the reason to watch this, but not if you want like a good quality, elevated horror movie.
I know you've got more movies to talk about, but I want to slide in and piggyback here just because it's a horror movie and it was also trash. It just seems like the right time and the right place. I watched Blood and Honey, which is on Peacock right now. And like on paper, I was all about this. Winnie the Pooh, horror movie, right? So like this seems so funny. And when it starts, it's a bunch of hand-drawn illustrations and stuff, and it's really cool for like the first 2 minutes. And then it's Christopher Robin and his fiance, and then they get killed by like a fat guy in a pig mask, and he's like, "Oh no, it's Piglet!" And then it's just people with human proportions in human clothes with hands and feet wearing masks.
The
bother. It is awful. It's the characters they kill immediately. Like the first thing is like, oh, it's Christopher Robin and his girl. So like you think this is going to be the couple you're going to follow. They get killed off immediately in the intro, and then it introduces like, oh no, here's 6 girls from college and they're all friends. And so, they immediately they split up. One's by the pool, one gets killed in the shed, and it's just a slasher movie. It's not good. It's super dark, like shot in the dark, not dark in like a spooky way, but all the scenes are very dark. So all the kills are hard to see. The acting is bad, the costumes are bad. You get a big old F out of F for Blood and Honey for me. It's on Peacock if you want to do that to yourself, but I wouldn't do that to yourself. You could just fast forward right through that and not watch it.
Yeah, I saw some TikTok clips from the movie that looked like pretty abysmal. I think they were able to have some success based off this viral marketing campaign for what the movie was, and then it's just like probably just a super budget bad horror movie.
Yeah, I want to say I looked up the budget yesterday or the day before, and I think it was $100,000. And so, like, immediately when I read that, I'm like, oh yeah, well you can't buy 5 masks for 100,000 that are like worth a damn. You know what I mean? If you're gonna go production quality, you're not gonna get it out of rubber masks. So that right there told me everything I needed to know. They couldn't even afford masks, let alone actors.
Yeah, yeah, that's rough. Actually, looking back at the list, I don't even have that much I want to get to. Like, I really liked a documentary I saw called Kim's Video that highlights the video chain from Manhattan that was super popular and like what happened to this crazy collection of movies and then how they got it back to the States. I really enjoyed that one. Maybe I'll talk about it more when it gets released on streaming somewhere because I'd love to recommend it to people because I really enjoyed it. Saw The Creator, which we'll talk about, Gary, because I know you saw it too. We'll get to that in a minute. The only other thing I really wanted to mention was I saw a horror movie. This is a tough one to recommend because it's like extremely harrowing and disturbing, but it was like pretty well made and I'd rate it highly. But When Evil Lurks, this is a Spanish horror movie that'll be out on Shudder here soon. And it's a possession horror movie. So that kind of tells you a lot of what you need to know. There's a lot of good effects, but like this movie is truly creepy and scary. And possession stuff I find to be freaky anyway. And this is just like really well done possession movie that's pretty harrowing. But that'll be on Shudder soon. I don't recommend it to to the faint of heart. So that's it. That's like a snapshot of some of the movies that I saw at the festival. And I know we've been able to I got to talk about Saw X as part of that. So we can jump into our regular fresh picks of the week. But yeah, that was Fantastic Fest. It was a good year. I saw a lot of good things.
It's good, man. I'm glad you gotta do that. It's pretty cool that you get to do that, man. It's pretty dope.
Well, and it's thanks to this show and, that we podcast every week. And I applied for press as part of Fresh Out the podcast and was able to do that. So it's exciting that I can recap it here. And,
man, our show got you press credentials. We're awesome.
It's true. And I did see, so it was interesting. That's worth noting. At the festival this year, a lot of the press badges or people with press badges, it's interesting. It's not all like your standard press anymore, like people writing for outlets. There were a lot of content creators. I saw TikTokers there that like I recognized them from my TikTok feed. Like Cinema Joe pops up on my TikTok feed all the time, and I saw him there. I saw a few others that I recognized. So I thought that was really interesting. So it seems like the movie business, or maybe this is an Alamo Drafthouse and Fantastic Fest thing in particular, but like they see the value of bringing influencers and social media content creators or YouTubers or whoever it is to these festivals. Because I feel like some of the bigger ones like TIFF and Toronto International, and of course the ones overseas or even Telluride, like they don't really do that. That's not really their vibe. So it's kind of cool that Fantastic Fest is like the cool fest that, that the normal people can go to, because that's kind of how it feels. And I highly recommend it if you ever want to go to a film festival as your first festival to go to, because it is all contained within the Alamo Drafthouse there in Austin. Like other film festivals, you go take place all over town, and like you have to run from one theater to the next between movies, and you're kind of running all over the way that it's hosted. Huh? What was that?
That seems like part of the fun, though. That seems like something I would want to do if on my first film festival. But like you said, being small and self-contained is really nice. But leave me like a small town, so I don't have to go all the way across town, but something close by. But yeah, I do think there's something cool about going from venue to venue like that.
Well, it is tough too when you're, if you have 4 or 5 movies, because there's basically 5 film slots every day. So there's an 11 o'clock, a 2 o'clock, a 5 o'clock, an 8 o'clock, and 11 p.m. So you can see 5 movies a day almost every day if you want to. I personally see 3 or 4 and I'm good. Like I can't do the late night ones anymore. I'm getting too old. Like it's and even me, as much as I love movies, like I have a cutoff. You know,
Yeah.
after 3 or so, I'm like I can maybe fit one
24
more.
in
But
a
like,
week, man. That's a lot, dude.
yeah, exactly. So, but that being said, like if you're seeing 4 or 5 movies, you're at the Alamo Drafthouse all day. You maybe only have 45 minutes to an hour between screenings. So like not really enough time to leave and go grab a meal somewhere. So you're either A, pack food, which is what I did, like protein bars, trail mix, whatever you can that's like proper meal replacement. Otherwise, you're spending money on Alamo Drafthouse food, which they do serve you. Their servers every screening, but like you quickly find out that after a full day or two of eating only Alamo Drafthouse food, it's not sustainable, and your tummy's not going to feel very good. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong; I think Alamo Drafthouse has pretty decent food in general, but like if that's all you're eating, no bueno.
Well, my brother can just survive off pizza, but besides him, I think most people would be hard pressed to survive on Alamo Drafthouse food.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Like I basically would kind of maybe get one meal a day at Alamo, like some chicken tenders, like something easy, and then supplement the rest of the day with snacks or protein bar, whatever it may be. There are some restaurants close by. Like there were times where I maybe skipped a movie and had a longer break, and I'd like go to a good ramen place in Austin because they've got a lot of good ramen places, or go get barbecue somewhere. Or I actually went to get pizza one day at oh gosh, now it's slipping my mind of the place. It's one of Thomas's favorites that's there in Austin. One of their trademark pizza places, and it's just totally escaping me.
Is it Via 313?
No, I haven't been to Via 313, and I know you
We're talking
highly recommend
about-
it.
Never been there.
Oh, you're talking about Home Slice.
Home Slice, thank you. I was like, it's the little guy, the mascot. Yeah, and Home
I think
Slice
I've
is
been
pretty
to Home
good.
Slice. Home Slice is good, yeah.
Yeah, it was solid. So I had a good Austin experience.
All I know is that
overall.
I would just I would get to stay with my brother in his house, so it'd be sweet.
Last year I stayed in a
and cheap.
hotel. That obviously is super costly. This year I was able to stay with a friend, and that was super nice.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it worked out really well.
Hell yeah.
So it was a really good experience. I look forward to going back next year. I was safe when I was there. You know, I tried to mask up and things. There were a lot of people there, and sometimes you'd be in screenings and you'd hear some sniffles and coughs. And I did see people posting online that other people had gotten sick at the festival. Like I masked up and I've been feeling fine. So
Yeah, COVID's going
you know,
around again, so watch out.
yeah,
It's
I was a little nervous, and there's a lot of people there, but so far so good on my end.
I feel like that's enough talking about movies. Let's talk about a movie we went and saw this weekend, Drew. Let's talk about The Creator.
Yeah, let's, because I
talk
think
about
we
something super fresh.
sounds like we have some differing opinions on this one too, which is always fun.
Yeah, The Creator. So I didn't know what to expect. I saw the trailers. I thought they looked cool. I saw ships. I saw space. I saw like I don't know, maybe AI was involved, and I was like, all right, I'm in. I thought, I thought I was getting into like a highbrow, high fantasy, sort of high sci-fi adventure. So maybe I was just ready for the wrong thing. Because I would say, without spoiling it all, that basically The Creator was exactly like District 9, which is to say, good acting, and it looks pretty good and looks really cool, but the script was just or maybe even worse than I don't want to spoil anything about The Creator, and I'm not going to, because I think people should. I think people will see it because people like sci-fis, and the ships look cool, and the thing is produced. It does look great. But my problems with it are script related, so I can't really bash on them too hard right now. And I hope you know what that means, Drew. I'll message you one-on-one after this and talk about some of the problems I had.
Yeah, and like I definitely, so I'm higher on the movie in general, but I also am like not gonna go to bat for all the scripting and story stuff because I do kind of feel like that's the weakest part of the movie. I was so taken with the visuals and the world building in general that like kind of trumped the story for me. I thought it looked so good, and I was just so taken with that the whole time. I really enjoyed it. The thing that has blown my mind is, of course I looked into the budget of this movie. It costs like, it's reported to have cost about $80 million to make this movie, which is insane for how good it looks if you consider like the newest Indiana Jones movie cost 300 million. Like all the Marvel movies cost anywhere from 3 to 4 times that
Like
amount, and this looked so much better than all of those.
that answers my question: is why every single robot looked the same. They didn't have
Right.
different helmets or different faces or customize or paint themselves or anything. There was the androids without a face had a look, and that's what they all looked like. They were all just kind of one model. So that whenever there were those big scenes towards the end with all the people on screen, I guess that was probably where they spent a lot of their budget. But it's easier when people look similar, I guess.
I
Yeah, there
loved the
really were some cool looking
Nomad, like
things.
the big ship that's kind of hovering over the plot the whole time. I liked the
Oh my
design of
god,
it, and um,
just
I
the
don't know.
whole man. So like, I want to like the Nomad, right? But like, it's just this giant. For anybody who hasn't seen it yet, the Nomad is this $1 trillion giant space station that's shaped like a capital T, with a split in the middle, and it just sort of floats around, going "Brah, ah, rah, rah," and then shoots a bunch of missiles down that explode everything. Which I guess that's fine. I guess that's kind of cool. There was one part in the movie, minor spoilers, not going to ruin a scene for you or anything, but that particular the Nomad, like it was going over Southeast Asia with its huge blue light, with its huge blue reticle, making its giant brah noise, and then like the army is like flying in behind it like covert, like they're trying to be stealth. But I'm like, guys, you're following a giant blue light that's just going "Brah." And like this is not a stealth advance, and like as you see the ship coming in, people are just like watching it go by. I'm like, why are none of these AI like alerting the military, the police that there's a ship flying in behind this giant laser spotlight? There was a lot of that in the movie where if I wanted to question the scene, nothing made any sense and it was all so stupid. But it did look cool and it was acted well.
Yeah, I thought that John David Washington was really good in it. Like I like him as an action star, and I thought he was
Feel like
pretty solid. I
he was
really liked.
pretty good, but his wife and him, that character, they had almost no chemistry. Where even compared to like his friend that worked in the warehouse that had the android wife, I thought they had more chemistry and they were barely on screen. I thought it was really weird that the main couple didn't have chemistry.
See, I liked Gemma Chan in it. Like I thought they were. I don't know. I didn't have that issue. Um, I definitely think some of the scripting and things, like you've said, like that's pretty justified. Overall, I thought the story was compelling enough, but just the visuals and world building really brought it together for me. Like I was just taken aback by the whole thing in a positive way. Um, the androids themselves, like the AI people, I love you see them in the trailers with the holes and everything. Like I loved that
They
design.
look
They
cool.
looked really good. Um, I get what you say. Like all the robots are kind of look the same, but like they also look photorealistic. Like they look really good.
I
I know
didn't hate the
that's like
look at all.
I'm
You know,
probably like a broken record. I just keep saying it looks good, but it does. Like this movie looks great,
and
and
as far as the world building goes, I couldn't disagree more because I was strapped in for like a high fantasy or a high sci-fi adventure, right? I didn't know what kind of world I was going to get. And I was like, "Oh boy." And instead I got the same old US military is the bad guy and they don't like it. And boo and they're the monster boo. And it's sort of this world in the future, and every bit of plot that they gave you was sort of like, but not really, but not really. The more you watch the movie, the more the world that they built sort of unraveled, and the things that they had established that mattered didn't matter. I was upset. I was really upset by the writing and the world building, straight up.
I thought they had some cool tech of things that like somebody that's recently deceased, you can basically plug in this chip and apply their
That was
memories
cool.
to it and then put it in an AI android and like essentially be in touch with that person for like a few minutes before it basically um
You will love that part, Jahan.
exhausts it. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. Like stuff like that is the stuff that I'm like, man, that's really awesome. I haven't seen anything like that before.
It's they got a dead body, Jahan. It's like a person who died within a couple hours, and they put a memory chip in the back of their brainstem, and then take it out of the person and put it in an android so that they can talk to the person for like 10 seconds before they go into shock again from being dead. And so the whole time they're like trying to move the android's face back, like, look at me, talk to me, don't look at your dead body, don't worry about that, don't worry about your wife, listen to me, talk to me. And like that was really cool, talking to a dead person through an android, through a chip.
That's
like,
pretty cool.
Like a sci-fi way of casting Speak with Dead.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But to bring it back to D&D,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of D&D in this movie in a way.
Hate to break it to you, Torchwood did it first. So,
well, there were things that were cool, but there was nothing that blew me away at all about the creator. And when the creator comes out, I'm sure people will watch it, and you're entitled to your own opinions, and we'd like to hear about it. But I think it was pretty meh. And it's mad to the point where I would say don't spend your money to go watch it, and maybe don't even put it on as background noise. Probably put on one of the Avatar movies instead. I'm going to give the creator I've been kind of battling with this. I don't know if it's a 4 or a 5 out of 10, but it's definitely not better than that. Let's give it a 5 out of 10 and just call it straight middle of the road, but I'm going to tell you not to spend your money on it. Just wait for some other way to see it.
And this is where Gary and I are going to disagree. For me, it's a solid 7, maybe an 8 out of 10. And for me, it's certified fresh, and it's a go see it. Gary, it's funny. This actually was number 3 at the box office this weekend for its opening weekend. And Saw X was number 2 at the box office for opening weekend. Because number one at the box office this past weekend,
effing Paw Patrol movie come out
was Paw Patrol the Mighty movie.
Get out of here.
Which I went and saw in a theater because I have a 3-year-old, and we went and saw it, and it's definitely a Paw Patrol movie. Not going to sit here and go through the plot. Don't feel like that's really necessary. I will say they get superpowers in the movie. It's pretty cool. I like superpowers. I have a 3-year-old. She sat through the whole movie and enjoyed it. And I think that there's something to be said about that. Anytime you see a kid's movie and it holds their attention. So as a parent, I approach these things differently. It held her attention. I was happy. Money well spent. It was a good Saturday morning with the family. So yeah, Paw Patrol, the Mighty movie, did better than Saw and the creator this weekend.
As far as I'm concerned, it's probably written better than the creator.
It's not. I can confidently say that it's not. There is a wiener dog, a dachshund in it, and her superpower though is that she's able to stretch like Mr. Fantastic. So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel like that power is wasted. I feel like the power is wasted on a wiener dog, and it should be used for a pug instead. Because watching a pug be real stretchy, it seems like a good time.
Funny, yeah. That could be good.
Mm-hmm. There is a little bulldog. His name's Rubble. He's like the construction dog. He usually drives like a bulldozer, and all their powers they get are kind of like reminiscent of what their job is. And he's the construction dog. He basically, his powers, he turns into a little wrecking ball. He's almost like Sonic the Hedgehog. Like he spins really fast and then he runs into things and they get destroyed. It's pretty cool. I like them. I like Rubble.
I love that.
There's another little dog named Sky. She's the girl on the team.
Man, just go.
And she gets super strength and can fly because she's she's upset because she's the smallest of the pups, but then she gets the coolest powers.
You don't see
Marshall, he's a little firefighter dog. He
okay, I saw an animated movie too, Drew, and I'm gonna talk about it. It was called Elemental. You guys talked about it. You guys had different opinions. I liked this movie. It was good. I can hella relate to this movie as a first generation of immigrants. It definitely has that story. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was entertaining. It was definitely, I agree with Gary. I mostly agree with Gary. Gary is probably the best thing they've done, Pixar's done since Soul. But I mean, it wasn't my favorite movie. But it was good, and it had good emotionality, and I thought the element stuff was pretty cool. So I think it's definitely. I mean, it's on Disney Plus. Watch it. You know what I mean? Like 100%. It's on Disney Plus. If you haven't, watch it. It is. I don't know that I would call it necessarily like a young kid movie. It's definitely for like an older kid. You know what I mean? It's definitely. There's nothing inherently like that's gonna freak out a little kid, but it's just it's not really written for them.
Yeah, it's not violent.
It's not violent or
scary.
sexual or anything like that. It's just
kind
of
more of an adult. It's about their adult relationship. They're both adults. She's 20, he's 18. It's something you can follow along with if you're in your teens or 10, 12 or so. But yeah, it is an adult story and about an adult relationship. It's not the most exciting thing for a 3-year-old.
Yeah. Then the other thing, I finished the latest season of Black Mirror. I watched all of it. It's pretty good. It definitely like holds up with a lot of the other seasons, like quality wise, but it's kind of starting to like drift away from like the technology fears, and like there was one that had nothing to do with technology and like straight up had something supernatural happen. I was like, what? Like, I was really confused. But I guess sometimes they do that. I don't know. It was good. I enjoyed it. I really liked the episode with Zazie Beetz. There's a few other really good ones that I enjoyed. The one with Salma Hayek did you guys see that one?
I did not.
So it's crazy, and you should watch that one. The one with Salma Hayek is the first one in the season, and it's not gonna trigger you. It's not triggering in any way. It is totally watchable, and it has her and the girl from Schitt's Creek. I forget her name, but she's in a lot of stuff, and I really like her as an actress. I forget her name though.
I still don't have Netflix right now because I'm still watching AEW become better than WWE every week via Sling.
That's fair.
It's been better than WWE for a while.
That's
Signed, a biased fan.
That's all I've been watching.
That's it? What have you been playing?
Are we going to playing stuff? I play Liza P.
We were talking about games earlier. I figured you could just talk about your games too.
That's fair. I play Liza P. It is, so it's a flawed Souls-like. It's everything that you expect the Souls-like to be. It does have mechanics that make it feel unique to Souls-like. It has some comboings and some like stagger mechanics, and then like finishing maneuvers and like that kind of stuff. You can activate like blade and hilt powers. I like it. I think it is a challenging. It's very. It's right there on that level of challenging, but like totally playable. It is very fun. The world is interesting, and yeah, you're fighting these other puppets come to life, and you have a mechanical arm. It's pretty cool. It's I think that whatever they set out to do, and making a good Souls-like, they did. If you like those kinds of games, check it out. Honestly, even if you don't, it might actually be something you could play. I don't feel like it's too Souls. I feel like it's a little more accessible. But I've played so many Souls-like games, it's hard for me to judge it for like a beginner.
I wasn't interested in playing this at all, not even barely, until you said that, because I'm not a Souls guy and I don't like Souls-like games, but I am still waiting for that one Souls-like game that sways me, the one that has enough familiar mechanics that it'll bring me over. I'm still waiting for that one, so I'm glad you said that. I might install it.
You're gonna have to perfect block and that kind of thing, and then like go on the attack. But that's you can pick either like be like fast sword guy, big sword guy, or like somewhere in the middle. I'm somewhere in the middle. You could just grab a big sword, Gary, and fucking have a good time. So I think that you might be able to, and then you can make your other arm a gun at some point. I don't know when, but apparently.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so I think Liza P's a solid game. It's free on Game Pass. Pretty low risk there. Check it out, definitely. Game Pass seems to be really picking it up lately, man. Stuff's happening.
Yeah, actually, something I wasn't going to talk about, but you just reminded me. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney is on Game Pass, the 3-pack, and if you guys never played that for your Game Boy, that
I
game is
love those
so
games.
fun.
Yeah, that game looks.
I love
are
those
so
games.
I've always wanted to. So I downloaded Phoenix Wright. I downloaded that Star Light game. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like an RPG. That
Oh, Sea of Stars.
Sea
I
of
think is what
Stars.
it's
I
called.
downloaded Sea of Stars. I played it a little bit. Seems like a pretty typical turn-based RPG, but it seems like it's probably got some. I see that it has some of those like button press mechanics, like Legend of the Dragoon. So like that's pretty cool. I hear really good things about it. And then I also downloaded Mortal Kombat 11, all on Game Pass. And so like I stacked my plate pretty good. I'm trying to spread my game playing out a little bit more because I've just been so focused lately.
Like I said, that's kind of why I'm trying to finish Starfield and move on. Because like I dabbled with Lies of P, but I was like, I need to get back to Starfield, or else I'm not going to go back. So I feel you there. I'm ready to spread some things out here soon.
I just want to throw my Starfield tracker in real quick. That's the only video game news I have this week. Right now, I'm at 202 hours played of Starfield, and I don't know if I'm still loving it. Loving may not be the word. I'm with you guys. I'm ready to play something else.
You put
I'm
it
ready to
down,
get
man.
out.
You put it down. Oh
I'm ready
yeah.
to get out.
You know what, Gary? We should probably talk about the game that we played. Did we talk about it already on stream?
I don't know, man.
Did we talk about Payday, Gary or Drew?
We talked about it in chat. We didn't talk about it on the show.
Okay, well, me and Gary played Payday 3. It is fine. Meh. There's not much to say about it. It is, you go, you steal money, and then you can buy guns with that money, and then you can use those guns to go steal money, and it's pretty mid.
Yeah, that's pretty true. If you want to kill like 10,000 police officers nonstop while you're running around trying to complete objectives that are poorly marked, have fun. I heard the launch was so bad that the company is looking at making a single-player mode already. I could tell you firsthand that the launch was pretty rough. If you couldn't find a game, it would log you out of the systems and start you back all the way over, so you'd have to remake a party, remake a game, and hope that it would find one and not kick you all the way out of the entire servers to start over again. Payday's fine. The game is, I mean, there are people who love the franchise, right? And it's another Payday game. If you didn't love the franchise, I don't think this Payday 3 is going
It's
to
not going to turn you around. It is free on Game Pass. Otherwise, it costs $40. I don't think it's worth $40. But,
No, I don't think it's worth 40.
But if you're looking for something, some time to kill with some friends for free, it could pass some time.
I don't think fresh is the word I would use for it.
No.
What about you?
Not at all.
Okay, not fresh. I'm good saying that's not fresh.
I'm gonna say it's not fresh, and yeah, I felt like we should throw that one out there because we gotta warn people sometimes about certain games. But Game Pass has been going pretty well lately, overall, and yeah. I feel like I had something else, but I don't remember. Oh yeah, video game news, right? So I just wanted to congratulate myself. I've been playing the shit out of Marvel Snap. And I finally hit the Infinity tier, which is the rank 100. And so I joined the leaderboards. I got all the rewards. It was hard, man. I had to play the shit out of that game. And I'm probably going to keep playing it this next season coming up. It's all about... they're doing spooky season stuff. So they're doing like Elsa Bloodstone, Werewolf by Night, Man-Thing. All that stuff's coming. They're doing some Midnight Suns content.
So I know I'm not where you're at, but I did just get out of gold. I got into platinum. I'm level 63 right now, and I'm feeling pretty good about it.
There's nothing wrong with platinum, dude.
I won some, I lost some, but something about the game, right when you get into early platinum, it changes, man. People are playing to win. No one's playing to have fun anymore.
I have to interrupt. Do these Discord soundboard things, do they enter the podcast? Like, are they part of the audio?
Which soundboard things?
Like Gary just did the air horn.
Oh no, I can't hear any of that, so that means no, it's not showing up.
No, that's too bad. Because I mean,
it is too bad.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Honestly, it's probably something I have turned off on my end.
Yeah, as soon as it was introduced to Discord, you turned it off.
Yeah, I muted it like immediately.
Yep, I was there when it happened.
Probably
Right,
a good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice. Good choice.
My audio
Drew,
goes on the VODs, so I don't. Yeah.
looks like you've got a couple more things on your to do or to don't list, Drew. You want to close us out?
Yeah, this will be pretty quick. I wanted to talk about this is actually one more thing I saw at Fantastic Fest, but I wanted to talk about it separately because it was not a movie. At Fantastic Fest, they showed the first 2 episodes of The Fall of the House of Usher, which is the new series. It's loosely based on the short story by Edgar Allan Poe, but this is a new Mike Flanagan Netflix series. The same guy who did like The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor and Midnight Mass and some of those other horror shows that Jahan, I know that you usually end up watching those. Like I think you watched Midnight Mass.
I watched Midnight Mass and like it was really good. And Haunting on Hill House was insane. That I had to put it down for a while because it was too scary. So is this good?
Yes. So the first 2 episodes, there's going to be 8 episodes. They come out on October 12th. So perfect timing. And the first episode I thought was pretty solid. The second episode was really great and ended like in a big oh whoa kind of moment. I'm really looking forward to being able to see the rest of this series. But yeah, it's basically about like a CEO of this pharmaceutical company. It's played by Bruce Greenwood, who he's in a lot of the Mike Flanagan stuff. But he's kind of like facing his past, but like all his kids have died in like this brutal way and like within 2 weeks of each other. Like the family is essentially cursed is kind of how it plays out. So it seems like the setup for the show is each episode focuses on a different kid and like how they met their demise while also showing like how the family operates. But it's got Bruce Greenwood, Carla Gugino's in it. And Henry Thomas plays the eldest son. You know, he's Elliot from E.T., but he's been in a bunch of these Mike Flanagan series, and he's really good in it. Mark Hamill is in it. He plays like the family's attorney. And yeah, I just wanted to say, like, if you like the Mike Flanagan Netflix horror shows, this one seems like it's going to be really great. I enjoyed the first 2 episodes. I'm looking forward to it. So I just wanted to
season, man. It's always nice when they actually release stuff like this in October.
And I just like Usher, man. I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl halftime show.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know, and I talked a few weeks ago. I'm not sure when it comes out in the next week or so, but like the most recent Disney Haunted Mansion movie, I think, will be on Disney Plus, which nobody went and saw it in theaters. I actually liked it more than most, and like that's a totally watchable Disney Plus movie that'll be out in perfect timing this month. Bad release time for theaters when it came out. Good release time for Disney Plus streaming.
We talked about it before. I think Disney just needs to get over themselves and start doing those straight to TV movies again, because those were always great. They knew what they were making and they made it well. You know what I mean?
Did you ever watch the Tower of Terror one?
Yeah, the Tower of Terror was exactly what I was thinking about because it was awesome.
Yeah, that one was good.
It's a good one. Yeah.
So there's that. And then I just wanted to say it's a great time to be alive if you're a reality TV viewer such as Gary and I. I think this is a lot of it's because of the strike and the WGA being on strike and SAG. But right now, like, we just got Survivor premiered this past week. I've been watching Big Brother, but that's neither here nor there. The Golden Bachelor premiered last week. Are y'all familiar with The Golden Bachelor?
No.
Oh,
yes. When I saw the commercial, I was like, how did this take so long to make? And if they produce this right, this will be on forever. Because you get the sob story, and then you get the love story. You get both. It's genius. It's the smartest thing they've ever done.
So, Jahan, you're familiar with The Bachelor, correct?
The
ABC reality show.
Bachelor.
And and don't forget Bachelor in Paradise, which also just premiered this past week.
Oh, joy.
The Golden Bachelor is the first ever elder bachelor. So he's 72 years old. His wife,
Silver Bachelor is what they should have called it.
His wife of like 40 something years passed away. I think in like 2017. So like he has this like, you know, it was like kind of a freak thing, and he had just retired and like bought their house where they were going to retire, and like this really nice story. And then
are all the girls that he's trying to date like in their 20s? Because that was so funny.
They're all in like their 60s or 70s. They're all like his age. And the first episode was wonderful. I loved it, and I'm going to be watching the rest of The Golden Bachelor. I'm also watching my first season of Love is Blind, which I think is a series Gary has watched before. Am I making that up, Gary?
Oh, I watched a little bit of Love is Blind.
Jenny loves it.
They sometimes they bring Love is Blind competitors on The Circle, and I'm a big fan of The Circle, so I'll branch out and watch other stuff around The Circle cast members, and then go back and wait for The Circle again.
Jenny watches that show, so naturally I see some of it, and some of those people seem fine. Some of those people are the most cringe people I've ever heard speak, and I'm like some of them are incels, dude. And I'm like, holy shit.
The season 5, the newest season of Love is Blind, is all it's casted out of Houston, so they're all Houstonians. So it's just worth noting. But yeah, so my wife likes the show too. I was like, I'll watch this season with you. I'm enjoying myself thus far.
I mean, there was one guy on there. He's like, you shouldn't wear makeup. It's like you're lying to me, and it's like, what? And like then he like wouldn't talk to her anymore, and so she was like, I'm leaving, and he was like, good. And it's like the stupidest thing.
Yeah, some of them get hung up on really odd things. I'm
weird.
It's just super strange.
That guy creeped me the fuck out.
I basically just wanted to say it's a great time to be alive if you're a reality TV viewer, because there's lots of good stuff that just premiered within the last week, and I'm watching a lot of it, too much of it, to be honest with you. But
for the Golden Bachelor, they should keep like a STD counter like every episode, because old people be fucking. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
they for sure do.
Like old folks homes, like they have like the most STDs ever. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's a perfect note to end episode 105 on.
Well, hey, man, I was figuring it's October. I think that maybe we should do some spooky stuff. So maybe we should do like a slasher or horror movie fucking draft, or like maybe we should watch some spooky time stuff and talk about it. Maybe we should get in. I feel like it's 'tis the season. Maybe we could talk about our favorite comfy autumn shows like Over the Garden Wall. Things like that.
I really like this idea. I think maybe we could talk about it. Maybe next week we'll do like a cool horror villain draft or something like that, like who you'd have on your team. Figure out some different categories to go along with it. I really like that idea. So we can do that. And then maybe I don't know if we assign a movie for all of us to watch, or do we all like pick a different horror movie to come to the table with and give?
I think we should pick some and like watch like each other's. I don't know, man. We'll talk about it, but like maybe we could watch a few.
So I'll watch you and then you watch me.
Yeah, I'll watch you. I'll watch you watch a horror movie, but just your face, like a two girls 1 cup reaction video.
Oh, and you have to put on those soundproof headphones.
I have to guess what you're watching.
You have to guess what I'm watching.
Yeah.
Response. Yeah.
Let's plan for our horror movie villain draft next week, and then we can talk in the meantime about what we want to do for the week after, like assigning a horror movie or something. There's also a new Exorcist movie that comes out soon, and there's some good stuff on the horizon.
Community movie. I think we should talk about it, like, and have it ready for next week, and be like, all right, we're all gonna watch this horror movie. We should do that.
Too. Yeah, we should.
Yeah, I like it. I like that idea.
Right. A fresh spooky pick of the week, and then everyone's gonna watch it. Yeah, hell yeah. All right, well that sounds like a plan. We got a lot. It sounds like we got an October packed with content, so you better stay tuned. I have been the board game guru, game master extraordinaire, and master of horror, Johananon.
It's me, Captain Planet, and if you want to see me and Jahan playing tabletop role-playing games every Thursday and Friday, we're doing that at twitch.tv/Johananon. We also have a YouTube, it's Fresh Out the Box TTRPG, and there's a Facebook if you are 65 and older and you want to watch us play tabletop role-playing games, follow our Facebook. That's where our senior citizens follow us. Thank you guys so much for your support, and thank you for being here for Fresh Out the Podcast, episode 105.
I'm Drew Munhausen. You can find me at Drew Munhausen on all the different social medias. And as they said, this has been episode 105 of Fresh Out the Spooky Podcast.
Stay spooky.